So yes, we are back for another Janome HQ Instagram Live. So thank you all, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Michael Smith. I'm the National Consumer Education Manager of Janome Canada. And again, coming to you live from the Janome Sewing and Learning Centre in Oakville, Ontario. Now, we are still closed to the public because of COVID. We're not doing any in-person physical classes here, but I'm working on developing some online classes as well, so then we can totally stay in touch that way too and help you get the most out of your Janome machine and accessories. Now you can go back to, if you were with us for our previous series, the A to Z with Janome. All of those Instagram Lives have been recorded as videos, so they're all on the Janome HQ YouTube channel. So you can get lots of information there about a lot of your Janome presser feet and accessories and attachments. And these current Janome's Awesome Accessory Countdown Instagram Lives are saved on the IGTV icon that's on the main page of the Janome HQ Instagram page. It's about halfway down the page in the middle. It's a little TV with antenna icon. So you can click on that and review the previous Janome's Awesome Accessory Countdowns. And then eventually these will be loaded as videos onto the Janome HQ YouTube channel. I'm hoping this week to find out about all this. I keep saying about the special permission that I want. I want to do something really special for our videos, but again, I need some, I think I need some permission to do what I want to do. So I want to try to find that out again this week. And if the answer is no, or if I can't find it out, then I'll start loading these previous Instagram Lives as videos on the Janome HQ YouTube channel. So there's lots of opportunity to share the Janome love, as I say. So yes, thank you for joining me today for another Janome's Awesome Accessory Countdown. And can you believe it? We're already up to, we're started with number 1 and we're going to 12. Today, ooh, lucky number 7 in Janome's Awesome Accessory Countdown is our AcuFeed Flex feet. There's 2 feet in particular that I'm really going to highlight today, but we have several, so I'm going to go through it all. Now, if you were with me for our previous series of A to Z with Janome, I've talked many times about, ooh, this beautiful, it's a 9mm accessory case. I often call it the train case. You know, my mother used to have a little cosmetic bag like this, but it is this beautiful accessory case. It comes in black as well as a sort of robin's egg blue. So if you have one of the original Skylines with the robin's egg blue color, you can get a 9mm accessory case. And there are 3 trays. This is just one tray that fits a lot of the presser feet. But then there's also 2 other trays, lots of extra storage in here. The 2 other trays to hold a variety of accessories and attachments. So it's a wonderful storage case for 9mm machines. Now, if you have a Memorycraft 15,000, either version 1 or 2, or the version 3 15,000 quilt maker, then we have all of these presser feet off to the, I guess it would be your right, or no, my right, your left. We have all of these presser feet included with the machines. All of these down here are empty slots, and these are the feet that we went through in the A to Z series with A to Z with Janome series. And again, you can go back to the Janome HQ YouTube channel, or even some of those episodes are on the IGTV icon in the A to Z with Janome series. So these are optional accessory presser feet, like our AP applique foot, and our I, the piping foot, and our H, the 3-way cording foot, all fit in these slots here. U for the ultra glide foot, all fits in these extra slots. FB for the border guide foot. So there, that completes this side. Now, depending on which version of the MemoryCraft 15,000 you have, I have a version 2, for example, at home. So I have 2 empty slots right here. If you have a MemoryCraft 15,000 quilt maker, the version 3 quilt maker, brand new right out of the box, you actually have a foot already in this slot here. So you're only missing 1 at the bottom. And these are the feet that I'm going to highlight today. The one that fits in this slot here, and again, they're all lettered, so you know exactly which feet that you need or what comes included with your machine. So again, for my version 2, MemoryCraft 15,000 quilt maker, I have these 2 slots empty, and one of them is the Std Foot, is our AcuFeed Flex stitch in the ditch foot, and I'll demo those in just a minute. So that will go in this slot. Again, if you've got a MemoryCraft 15,000 quilt maker, brand new right out of the box, you already have this SD stitch in the ditch foot included. And then the one that we all need to purchase as an additional foot comes in a blister pack like this from your Janome dealer, and it is the Std straight stitch foot. So it's the AcuFeed Flex straight stitch foot, and that will fit in that slot there, and boom, that completes your whole accessory. Yes, I know. Ta-da! Finally, because so many people wonder, what are all these letters and what do they all mean and what are the feet? So again, you can go back to the A to Z with Janome series to review all of these feet. And then these 2 feet here are the ones that I will talk about today. So they all fit in your 9mm accessory tray. Now, the wonderful thing about AcuFeed Flex, I basically call it, it's like a walking foot on steroids. Now, most people are familiar with a walking foot or even feed foot that has basically upper feed dogs. We know we've got the feed dogs below that is help feeding our fabric. So in our other walking feet, they have upper feed dogs here. So this is kind of the traditional white walking foot. This little bar goes over where the needle clamp screw is. And as you're stitching, those upper feed go and help you feed your fabric, particularly thicker fabrics if you're going to quilt through all layers, or you've got maybe some thicker like corduroy or velvet you want to feed those layers. So by the time you get to the end of your seam, they're still the same length, particularly velvet. There's, you know, a napped fabric. So that one nap kind of works against the other. And sometimes, again, by the time you get to the hem of your dress, let's say, then it's way longer than the bottom. So by using this walking foot or even feed foot, it'll help you feed your layers together. Matching plaids is another great reason to use them. So this foot, again, it's been around for years and it works wonderfully for many, many machines. But, you know, Janome's always trying to think of more. So they're always innovators in many ways. So then for certain machines, like maybe you've got a MemoryCraft 6600 or the 6600P, or you've got the 7700, and they had a built-in dual feed basically called AcuFeed. And it basically was like, here are the upper feed dogs and they were attached to the machine. And then you could purchase from your Janome dealer, and you can still purchase these, by the way, if you still have those machines, you can still purchase these in separate blister packs. It was AcuFeed. Again, it was like a walking foot on steroids. So you could purchase the various AcuFeed feet, and they had the foot holder on them, and then the actual feet itself. And they fit over basically the upper feed that was attached to the machine. Now these will not work together. They're not supposed to work together. But again, these upper prongs would fit in to the spaces there of the foot and help feed your layers together. So that was the revolutionary AcuFeed system, and again still works wonderful for those certain machines. But then again, Janome's always thinking and developing, so now we have AcuFeed Flex, and the flex part of it comes, this is your foot holder, or one of the foot holders, which I'll talk about. This is kind of the main one. It's the dual or the twin holder as it's called. So this is your foot holder with your upper feed dogs basically, and then you get these shoes, or the feet themselves, but I always call them shoes, and who doesn't love shoes? So there's a variety of feet that will fit this foot holder, for example. Now the standard is this AD one that is like the zigzag foot. So that's the standard combination. And the very cool thing is they just clip in. So like, how fabulous is that? And again, when we get to the machine, is it easier if I hold these by the machine?
Sure, yeah.
So they're not out in the middle of nowhere. So yes. So then again, we can change these shoes. So I just slip those off there. So this is the standard AD zigzag foot. But then, depending on your machine, then, for example, the 15,000 quilt makers would have this OD foot that is a 1/4 inch guide off to the side of the foot. So that's a AcuFeed Flex with the 1/4 inch guide. Now, if you don't have a Memorycraft 15,000 quilt maker, again, don't worry. All of the AcuFeed Flex feet come in blister packs. So then if you had a Skyline S7, for example, which I'm demoing on today, then yes, it comes with the regular twin or dual AcuFeed Flex holder, and then we could purchase separate, in this case, the OD with the 1/4 inch guide. You could purchase that separately. And then again, it just clips on very easily. Boom. Totally. And then you feel like changing your feet, changing your shoes. Oh, great. Now I want maybe the open toe, which is the UD foot, and the open toe, so you get better visibility. Or in this case, you want to use the SD, the stitch in the ditch foot that has like the little rudder down the middle there. So I can click this on, and this is particularly useful when I want to stitch in the ditch. And by having that rudder, we have a regular stitch in the ditch foot, the S foot, that just clamps on to your regular foot holder. If this is your regular foot holder, and the S foot would just clamp on just as all other regular presser feet do. But again, with AcuFeed Flex, we have more. Again, it's like a walking foot on steroids. So we have got that feeding power of AcuFeed, and now we have the SD stitch in the ditch foot. Now again, this came with the Memorycraft 15,000 quilt maker, the version 3, or again, those of us with version 1 or 2, then we can purchase this SD foot separately in the blister pack. And oh boy, hopefully that didn't make anyone sick. Or again, if you've got a Skyline S6, Skyline S7, Skyline S9, 9400, 9450, then you can, or 6700, then you can purchase this SD foot in the blister pack. And then again let me move some of this. There's always so much to show. And then again, just regular stitch in the ditch, but I could be doing this with, now generally when I'm just going to alter my stitch length. When I'm going to quilt through layers, and right now I just have my 2 layers of fabric seamed together, but if I were doing this, certainly quilting through backing and batting, or again, if I had like napped fabric, like velvet that's a little bit thicker, I like lengthening my stitch length. Usually it's a 2.4, but then I adjust it up to a 3. So again, and that's personal preference, but so again, super simple to do. You're just guiding your fabric with that rudder right down the middle to the groove of your seam. It just kind of locks into place and is very simple, very quick to do. It works out beautifully. So depending on your fabrics, and if you're worried in this case, oh, I have 2 pieces of fabric. Can you see that? I know I sure can't. And the wonderful thing is I'm using this multicolored thread in my needle. So again, maybe if I pull there. If I really pull across that seam, then you can see a little bit of my thread. But again, there, boom, you barely see that. So you don't even, when you're stitching in the ditch so accurately with your AcuFeed Flex Std Foot, then you don't really have to worry about, oh, my thread doesn't match my fabric exactly. It just buries right in there. And again, this is only 2 layers of fabric. So it's not, or I guess it's really like 3 because I folded it over, but still it's going right in the ditch in between the 2. So it's really actually just 1 layer of fabric that I'm stitching through, now that I think about it. Yes, because I have my seam allowance pressed to, in this case, the left, and I was stitching to the right. So the bulk of my seam is on the left, and then this redder's going right down the middle of my seam. So actually, I'm really only stitching through that 1 layer of fabric, and you don't even see it. If this, again, was a quilt sandwich with backing and batting, it would really just burrow in there, and you wouldn't see it at all. So all your stitch in the ditch, for example, a great way, very simple, you know, when people think, oh, I'm not creative, maybe free motion quilting intimidates you a little bit. All you do is just follow in all the seaming. In this case, it's a flying geese that I made this big star. But then again, I just stitched in the ditch around each using the AcuFeed Flex foot. And again, it just helps bury right in there. In this case, I used white thread. So depending on your fabric, again, it shows up a little more when it's stitching over black, but really very little. So how beautiful is that? And it gives you the great dimension at the back, and again, super simple to do. And then by having the AcuFeed Flex, again, it's like a walking foot on steroids. So then you can really feed all those layers in easily. So that is great for stitch in the ditch. Ooh, now how about, yes, we come over to our S9 here, our Skyline S9, and I wanted to show you then when people are putting in their foot holders in their machine, sometimes people say, oh, like it pops off. Now the genius, the engineering genius of the AcuFeed Flex is that this little hook here hooks in to the upper feeding mechanism built into the machine. If the machine is compatible with AcuFeed Flex, it hooks into the upper feeding mechanism, which is why then it works so well. So it's not only the addition of these, again, upper feed dogs, but it's symbiotic with the machine. So again, it feeds so wonderfully. But people say, oh, that little hook pops off. So I wanted to show you here. This is the bar that's on the back. If your machine is AcuFeed Flex compatible, and again, a Skyline S6 is the first of our series of machines that have AcuFeed Flex. So again, a Skyline S6 or an S7, S9, 9400, 9450, 6700, MemoryCraft 15000, I believe the 12,000 had it too, that this is the bar that you want this little hook to go over. So what I always recommend to do as you're attaching this, and again, it screws in, so you take off your regular foot holder, and then again, you've got your little screw there that'll attach it at the side. But when you're putting this on, I always reach around with my finger and put my finger here up against it. So I know it's clipped in, and then as I'm tightening the screw to the side, I put my finger there as I'm tightening with my screwdriver, that little screw. So that way I know it's really firmly grabbed in that hook. So it's not going to pop out. I have never had my foot ever pop out. So I find that is really a big secret. So hopefully that will help if you've had any issues. But again, I've never had any trouble. Naturally, if you're going over really thick, bulky layers, that's a good time to slow down your machine as well, and definitely lengthen your stitch. And that will help feed it more easily. Now, if you find it a little tricky to remove these feet as well, I find doing it off the machine is easier for some people to do. Now, I love the machines with the extra high presser foot lift. That definitely helps as you get in there to remove the feet. But they just snap on and off very easily. But again, if you find it maybe a little tricky, depending on your mobility, then when your foot is off the machine, then you can clip these in and out maybe more easily. So the next foot then is the Std foot, which is the straight stitch foot. And you can tell just it has that little hole in the center. Now the straight stitch foot works beautifully, of course, with our straight stitch needle plate. And again, comes with many of our machines. If your machine is AcuFeed Flex compatible, but maybe perhaps did not have a single hole straight stitch needle plate, you can always again purchase from your Janome dealer. So again, the straight stitch needle plate has the center hole, and then that would line up perfectly with your Std foot, perfectly in the center there. So as you're doing your whatever kind of piecing, whatever kind of quilting you want to do, that it lines up ideally. But you don't have to use this Std foot with the straight stitch needle plate. You can certainly use it with your universal zigzag one, but ideally, you know, a lot of people love when they're doing their quilting, you know, multiple rows of quilting, and just to use your straight stitch needle plate. And then again, you never have to worry about your fabric being kind of punched down in there. So as you're doing all your, again, just straight stitch quilting through all layers, then this is a great foot to use, the Std foot, the straight stitch foot, so then you can really see what you're quilting, all just in straight lines. Like, how beautiful is that? Or then even in, back to my sample here, where I just did down and around, I used the width of the foot just to stitch my spacing. I didn't mark anything. I just started in one seam, and I just went up and around in a kind of piano keys. Super simple to do, very easy, and a great way to get all your quilting done. So that is the feet. But when I'm going to use this, I'll go back to, I'll even put on that straight stitch one. So when we're going to use the AcuFeed Flex, then we can, I don't know if you'll be able to see on the screen that by these little, there's two lines. Now your screen may look a little different, and again, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see because of the glare, but somewhere on your screen, it's usually right across the top, there'll be two lines and three little upside down triangles, and that is your AcuFeed system, basically, that you will engage. Now, more information, always consult your sewing machine manual. But yes, if right now it's in blue, it's not selected. Now, perhaps you'll be able to see, hopefully you can see. So right now my screen is just set up as normal for any kind of straight stitch. But if I engage my AcuFeed by clicking that little, the three arrows and the two lines, it's gonna go to yellow. And then again, it's going to say, make sure you've got the presser foot holder, proper presser foot holder attached. And I say yes. Now that symbol is in yellow, and every stitch that is not compatible with the AcuFeed Flex will then gray out. So all I can really select using is just all the straight stitches, which again, for quilting through all layers, or using the AcuFeed Flex to put on your binding, for example, or again, if you're seaming a velvet dress together, you're just going to be seaming with a straight stitch anyway. So I mean, that's perfectly fine. And by the action, again, of the upper feeding, then again, all your layers end up perfectly aligned. And then again, quilting through these thicker layers, it just grabs it and pulls it through. I don't need to manipulate the fabric. I don't need to pull the fabric. I just let the machine feed it on its own. And again, typically for thicker layers, I'm going to use a longer stitch length, and I'm going to slow down the machine, which helps. Now, the big advantage to the, if you have our, oh, and I of course forgot to mention that the brand new beautiful Continental M7 is another AcuFeed Flex machine, that it now has a separate AcuFeed motor. And I did talk about that in previous A to Z with Janome series. So again, go back to the Janome HQ YouTube channel to review that. The new Continental M7 has a separate AcuFeed Flex or AcuFeed motor in it. So now that you're able to use more than just straight stitches with your AcuFeed Flex. So that's the big advantage of the Continental M7. And again, I did show that actually also number one of this series when I talked about the ribbon sewing guide. I demoed on the Continental M7 how to activate that special AcuFeed motor, and then we were able to use some decorative stitches with AcuFeed. So again, Janome's always coming up with something new and then never resting on their laurels and always saying, how can we improve? How can we do more? There's always more. So that's a very fabulous addition to your AcuFeed Flex. Now, I wanted to quickly point out that there are more than just, so those are the additional AcuFeed Flex feet for the twin or dual holder. But there are more than just one holder, AcuFeed Flex holder. So here is the single version that has the VD foot. And again, some of our machines come with this, or then again, if you've got a machine like the Continental M7 does not have the single holder in it. So then again, you could purchase that from the Janome dealer. So then it has the VD foot, or you can also get the ED foot for that narrow or single holder. This is a great zipper foot, and I installed a zipper in a knit hoodie. And again, no stretching, no puckering whatsoever, using that zipper foot with the AcuFeed feeding mechanism, so that worked out beautifully. And then there's more. Now, some of our machines as well have the HP needle plate that has the special needle hole in the left-hand orientation. And then Janome came out with this beautiful Hp2 foot. Now, sometimes people confuse this foot, the HP2, with this narrow foot holder. So that's why I'm bringing it up to say that there's now 3 AcuFeed Flex feet or foot holders specifically. But the Hp2 foot, it debuted with the 9450, and again, compatible with the HP needle plate that has the left-hand hole for the left-hand orientation of the foot. But so this was available with the 9450, but then the Continental M7, brand new machine, it also has the HP2 foot included. But again, if you've got a 6700 that has the HP needle plate, or if you have a version 1 or version 2 MemoryCraft 15000 that you've upgraded and updated to version 3, and you bought the little accessory kit that had the HP needle plate in it, you could then purchase in a separate blister pack AcuFeed Flex professional grade Hp2 foot. So this comes in a separate blister pack as well. And this foot has become my favorite 1/4 inch piecing foot. It gives you that perfect little scant 1/4 inch that everybody wants, and particularly very helpful when you're seaming a block like this, for example, and each of these seams, you know, it eats up a little bit of your fabric. So by having this beautiful, perfect, little scant 1/4 inch foot, then this block needed to be 6.5 inches, and it came out 6.5 on the dot. It was absolutely perfect. So I absolutely fell in love with this Hp2 foot. Again, available in a separate blister pack, but it is compatible then with your HP needle plate. So you have to be sure that your machine is compatible with the HP needle plate. For example, the Skyline S7 is not, but the Skyline S9, is. I finally was able to test it out. This came up during the A to Z with Janome whether or not the HP needle plate was compatible with the Skyline S9. So this is an indigo Skyline S9, and yes, I attached the HP needle plate and the machine recognized it, no problem. It swung the needle over to the left, no problem at all. So then if you have an indigo Skyline S9, you can purchase the HP needle plate and the Hp2 Foot. And again, this could be your favorite 1/4 of an inch piecing foot. So that, I think, is a nutshell, is our AcuFeed Flex feeding system, and a little history of how it all became about. Because again, I think it's fascinating, as Janome is always trying to think of more and more. And again, the results are always so quick and easy and very professional. So
if you want to come over to me.
Okay, fabulous. So if there's no further questions regarding AcuFeed and everything, I know it's a lot of information, but you can always go to review. Oh, in fact, there is a video on the Janome HQ YouTube channel that I talked about the AcuFeed Flex and the various needle plates. In a separate video, I did a Janome Canada Instagram live, so that video is on their Janome Life YouTube channel as well, but I also recorded that and put it on the Janome HQ YouTube channel for more about AcuFeed Flex and the various needle plates, so you can review that. But Tanya has a special service announcement.
Okay. Hello. Michael makes it look so easy. It's not so easy when you're on this side.
Yes.
We have reached 500 followers.
Yay!
Very exciting.
Yes.
We are going to give away this package, which I think you recognize. Michael may have mentioned it once or
Just
twice.
once or twice, yes.
And all you have to do is watch for our post. The post will start on Friday. It's going to run from Friday at 8 a.m. to Sunday at 8 p.m. And you're going to like the post. You're going to follow us if you don't already. And you can tag one person in the comment. You can tag up to 5, but no more than 5. And we will have the draw. I think it is Friday, August 14th at 1 o'clock. We are going to do the draw, or Michael's going to do the draw, and then we'll mail it to you. Also, I had to mention only Canada and US for this one, for 500, but when we get to 1,000, we'll have another giveaway. So watch for that on Friday. Back to my
Fabulous. Okay, fantastic. I hope everybody, I was like, oh, I hope everybody can hear Tanya. She's not wearing a microphone.
I didn't even realize.
So yeah, no, that's good. Okay, fabulous. So yes, thank you everybody. I hope I'm not making too much noise adjusting that. Yes, thank you all so much for your support of Janome HQ and getting us all started. It's very challenging starting some new social media from scratch, but thank you all for your support. And again, we wanted to offer you more now with the fabulous Janome Sewing and Learning Center, and again, just trying to get all the information how you can make the most out of your Janome machines and presser feet and attachments. There's, again, Janome's always trying to give you everything that you need, so we wanted to get more information out to you, other venues to get the information to you. So thank you very much for joining us in that, and certainly again we look forward to continuing to bring more as we get bigger and bigger. Yes, it's very exciting, and again, you all know how I love that Madeira stabilizer pack. So yes, what a perfect thing to do for our first giveaway, for our first 500 followers. And again, more information will be, yes. Ooh. So more information will be coming on Friday. Tanya will have a post on Janome HQ announcing all the details in the giveaway. So don't worry about trying to write it all down now. Just look for the post on Friday at Janome HQ, and you'll get all the information there on how you could get this fabulous Madeira stabilizer starter pack at home. Yay! So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been wonderful to see you all. Tomorrow is it Amanda? Yes, I haven't checked I'm still catching up on all my email, and you know, Liz sends out the email every Monday about what's coming up on the various Janome Canada's, you know, Instagram of Janome HQ and Janome Canada, and I must admit I'm still going through my emails, so I think it's Amanda up tomorrow, but either way, tune in to Janome Canada's Instagram Live at 1 o'clock. And then I will not be here on Friday doing Janome HQ, but I'll be back on Monday, next Monday, doing another Janome HQ, Janome's awesome accessory countdown, number 8.
Yes.
So I will see you all then. So thank you so much for joining me, though. Thank you. Can you say goodbye? Yes. Yes. Thank you all. Have a fabulous day. Bye.